By now, I'm sure that you've heard that Pam Bondi will be leaving the cabinet position of U.S. Attorney General. The echo chamber has already blasted the headlines that she's been fired, but in fact, there's no evidence of whether she was fired or quit herself. Here's what we know. Both Pam Bondi and her replacement for interim, Mr. Todd Blanche, are both very loyal to President Trump. Before we look at this, please help me out with a thumbs up, because that's apparently what YouTube is looking for. Also subscribe and don't forget to ring the bell for notifications of the big changes that are underway for the ex-pharmacist. If you remember in the beginning, President Trump made it clear from the start that he needed people that were going to be loyal to him during this administration. He also spent last night riding to his press release with Pam Bondi in the same car, and she was standing right behind him doing that release, so there's clearly no bad blood here. The question then comes as to whether this transition from Attorney General to a very important private sector position, as President Trump stated, has been planned all along. First, let's look at what President Trump posted at 1:17 p.m. on April 2nd on his Truth Social. He wrote, "Pam Bondi is a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as my Attorney General over the past year. Pam did a tremendous job overseeing a massive crackdown in crime across our country, with murders plummeting to their lowest level since 1900. We love Pam, and she will be transitioning to a much-needed and important new job in the private sector, to be announced at a date in the near future." So there's a couple things that we want to look at. First, we've been told for years now that there will be many corporate resignations. These will likely be people that were given an opportunity to cooperate rather than be prosecuted, and there's probably some sort of mitigating circumstances which don't amount to something as serious as treason. So we know that already many have stepped down, and we expect many more to step down. One that comes to mind for me is the recent announcement by Disney CEO Bob Iger that he would step down effective March 18, 2026. A new CEO has been announced from within, and Iger's contract was set to run through the end of 2026, so for some reason, he stepped down 9 months early. But he will stay on as senior advisor until his full retirement on December 31, 2026. So, we can expect to see a lot of corporate changes happening, and it's very possible that Pam Bondi could be moving into one of them. Her expertise makes her a prime replacement as a lawyer in a large firm. Specifically, financial services like banks and investment firms like Vanguard are among the most natural landing spots for someone with Bondi's exact expertise. Ex-AGs and senior DOJ alumni commonly transition into these in-house roles for the ability to effectively bring regulated industries into compliance. Her Trump loyalty and her lobbying network of associations would be additional assets for companies with strong Washington ties. Secondly, let's look at the possibility that this was all planned out years ago because the practice of changing leadership at the Department of Justice is actually quite standard and has happened under both Democratic and Republican administrations. I would think that if you want a steward to protect illegalities, then you have a long-term position, but if you're cracking heads and taking heavy heat, it's more logical to strategically spread the workload on such a gigantic project. A change of leadership does a lot of things, one of which is to lessen the effect of any non-criminal deficiencies that might have occurred by Pam Bondi. Todd Blanche now has full discretion as to how to pursue or escalate high-profile prosecutions, while distancing the DOJ from any controversies that might have been tied to Pam Bondi. So, was Pam Bondi put in front of Congress to be beat up on and be lied about by the left, knowing that it would have no effect in the future prosecutions? But there's more. Pam Bondi has extensive experience as a prosecutor conducting investigations and putting together prosecutions. The fact is that Bondi is stronger in the investigative and prosecutorial pipeline side, such as screening cases, directing grand juries, building indictments, and managing broad enforcement strategy. She will be staying on for 30 days to transition the cases over to Blanche, so this indicates to me we are about to move into high-profile prosecutions in about a month or less. Here's why. Todd Blanche, on the other hand, has a strong and polished presence in the courtroom. He also has fresh, very high-stakes courtroom experience like Trump's defense related to Stormy Daniels, classified documents, and election obstruction prosecutions. Blanche is the one that argues in court, and he's done this extensively as both prosecutor and defense counsel. So to me, this seems like a very strategic and smart handover of prosecutions that's been planned for some time. Bondi has the experience to put the cases together, and Blanche has the expertise to argue them, and both are longtime loyalists to President Donald Trump. Remember, guys, this is war, and it didn't start yesterday. It has been meticulously planned for years. I want to add one thing, since we're on the subject. I find it really hard to believe that Kristi Noem has been having an affair with Corey Lewandowski, who worked for the president, and that she was able to hire him without any objection. I also find it very odd that if her husband was on internet websites, posting pictures of himself with a breast fetish, this would have very easily been picked up on his initial security clearance when she was chosen to work in the cabinet. So I have to wonder if this isn't being used as an example of hypocrisy for the hive-minded. I just think that people are really underestimating this administration if they think that the FBI and Secret Service don't know everything that's been going on with the people that are employed and working closely with Trump. If someone is a bad apple in this administration, I'd consider that it may be deliberate to either control the person or give them enough rope to freshen the evidence against them. So just remember, guys, nothing is as it seems. The official or media narrative is not necessarily real, and these type of events might have much deeper meaning and purpose. So keep an open mind and watch who says what. By now, many of you are recognizing patterns of the echo chamber and its prescribed narratives. Don't parrot these obvious echoes, and consider how this event might be important in bringing down the guilty. Check out the Guilty Must Pay collection of merch in our store. We've been assured that everything is going according to plan, and nothing can stop what is coming. Have a great Easter and get ready for the resurrection of freedom to people across the world. Happy Easter, filled with much love and anticipation, from Spirit, the ex-pharmacist.